Hello, I'm Donald Leggett and welcome to this edition of Share Views, brought to you by the financial website London South East. Our guest today is Mike Buck, CEO of AIM-listed Petro Metad, who are exploring for oil in the heart of Mongolia. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you, Donald.
Yes, okay, so it's useful to start by asking you what your drilling programme is for 2018 and 2019. Last time around it was 4 wells. Where are we this time?
Okay, well, I'm pleased to say we're on track with the 4 wells for 2018. We're going to be spudding during this week the first well on Block 5, Snow Leopard number 1, followed up directly with the well on Wild Horse in Block 4, and we're in the throes of final negotiation of the rig contract for Block 20, where we plan to drill 2 wells, hopefully starting the first before the end of September. So our 4-well program for 2018, as described to you back in February, is reasonably well on track. A little bit of delay getting started with Snow Leopard. I'd hoped to start it in the second quarter. We're a little bit into the third quarter, but we're spudding imminently. And we recently did another fundraising because we have 2 new prospects, very exciting new prospects, one in Block 5, one in Block 20 that we've added to the program. And we will be drilling those in the second quarter of 2019. And the plan is to use the equipment, the drilling equipment we have now, to drill those 2 wells in 2019. So effectively, the 4 wells for 2018, we're on schedule. We've expanded the program to 6 wells, and that will be 6 wells in 5 risk-independent basins, targeting 850 million barrels between now and this time next year. So very, very active, very, very exciting time for us.
Indeed. And what's the thinking behind more money and doing de-risking the project more quickly?
Well, basically, as these prospects were generated, particularly the Fox prospect, which came out of our 2017 3D program, that's a basin that we really want to drill in because it's got some of the best indications of a working petroleum system. All of the basins have good evidence. This basin has one extra piece of evidence the others don't, which is a core hole drilled in it that had live oil shows at the base, suggesting that that basin is working and working right now. So adding the Fox prospect to our drilling program was a particular attraction. But we have to recognize that here we've got effectively 3 drilling seasons remaining on this acreage before their exploration periods expire. And I don't want to miss one. I want to be able to see that we are going to be able to do operations in 2019. And to be honest, the way the bureaucracy moves within Mongolia, you have to get ready early. So if we know we're in a position, we're funded for those wells, we can start preparation for those wells, we can negotiate the rig contracts to add those wells, and we can get all the permits we need. I know that we're not going to waste a drilling season because we didn't get permits in time. So the attractions of the prospects, to add those prospects, very, very important, and the ability to do them in 2019, also very important.
Do you feel yourself under any pressure? I mean, you're actually doing quite a lot of work in terms of an E&P company. 6 wells over in that time frame is quite a lot.
That's true, yeah. And I think in the run-up to the start of drilling, we were testing ourselves to see whether we really were as ready as we thought we were. I think there's been a few sleepless nights, but we've got there now, and we've also defined effectively, well, at least 5 of the 6 prospects we're going to drill. So a lot of hard work has been done. Obviously, we've been in the throes of mobilization of the rig right now. That has gone pretty well. And yeah, it's very, very active. But once you get started, you've really got to follow through. You can't waste the opportunity of having all of that equipment in the field. You know, it's 150 truckloads to take that rig to location. Mm-hmm. So once you're moving it around, you don't want to let it go and have to start all over again. So no, we've put the organisation under a lot of pressure, but I've got to say that I'm really pleased the way the staff have responded. We've got really good support from the Mongolian authorities, and so yeah, it's going very well. And it's going to be a continuous drilling period now until the latter part of November, when the drilling season ends because the weather gets bad.
And how much of a hiatus is there?
Basically from the end of November until the latter part of March, depending on when the temperatures increase and when the snow clears. So we would hope to be able to be spudding the 2 2019 wells in April.
And what do you do in that time? Are you looking at the seismic, planning for the further wells?
We'll be evaluating the results of the 2018 wells, obviously, and there'll be a lot of work to do on that. With the extra funding that we've got, we've also given ourselves a bit of flexibility. So, if we get some encouragement in one of the early wells to say, rather than go over there and do that thing we first planned, maybe we could appraise some success or follow up on some encouragement, then that we do have that flexibility. So that work is going to have to be done through the hiatus in the drilling season. But it's not like, as I said, the bureaucracy tends to move quite slowly. During the year-end period, of course, we have to put together our official budget for 2019, which then requires government approval, and from that, a number of other approvals follow. So, yeah, there's not necessarily any rest for the wicked.
Okay. And you don't seem like a wicked person in the slightest. Let's talk the recent Edison research note, which was pointing up the fact that you're actually good value for money. You're benefiting from low-cost development wells of around between $2 and $4 million, which is very attractive, an attractive production sharing contract and a supportive government. So put that in context for us. Tell us more.
Yeah. Well, the production sharing contract for Mongolia is very favourable, and the reason for that is they've been trying for a number of years to encourage people to come in and explore. To be fair, that has not been hugely successful for them. So the terms that are on offer now are still very good. And if you rank it by world standards, I would say that Mongolian production sharing terms for the contractor like ourselves are within the top quartile. Very, very good. Normally the preserve of countries that don't yet have proven hydrocarbons and want to have some. So we're fortunate we're in a country that already has some production, has proven that it can work, and we have, we believe, very, very favourable geology as well.
But not yet proven it can work on a mega scale.
Well,
it's a major step change that you're trying to introduce.
Certainly, the discoveries that we hope to make in blocks 4 and 5 are very large and maybe an order of magnitude larger than the kind of current production that Mongolia has. But PetroChina in eastern Mongolia has demonstrated that they can reach a production profile peaking at 25,000 barrels a day without the need for pipelines, with a trucking operation taking the oil many hundreds of kilometers to refineries in China. So actually that part of it is proven. What we are hoping to do is to replicate that, but also with the potential we have in blocks 4 and 5, we could really put Mongolia on the map.
Okay.
I would then expect Mongolia, for any new contracts being signed, to say, right, well, the terms are now not going to be quite as favourable as they were for the first entrant.
Right.
But I do have to say on the Mongolian government's behalf that sanctity of contract has been something they've been very, very careful to preserve. They want to attract investors, so they've never tried to change these good terms that they have offered to the early entrants, and we benefit from that.
Okay. The work for 2018 is fully funded. You raised 16 million in February. You just told me about a further 17 million last month.
Yes.
Was that just Petroviz, or did institutions and private investors participate?
At the raise we did in January, that was the first time that Petro Metad had been to market for some time. The first time the company had stuck its head above the parapet for some considerable amount of years. And the conversation we had with Petroviz beforehand, we said, look guys, we want to raise some money. Our major shareholder needs to be with us on this. It's hard to convince new investors to come in if your existing long-term biggest investor doesn't come too.
Correct.
But they were super supportive, and they were there, and they followed their money. In the raise in January, they participated at their full working interest. They were not diluted at all. And they were the biggest single participant in the raise, and we're very, very grateful for that. The raise that we did in June, Petroviz's preference was not to participate in that raise, and it's fair to say that we got the meetings we got were perhaps easier to get this time around, I guess because we were a little bit higher market cap, had a little bit of better of a profile. So we were able to raise the 17 million without Petroviz needing to come in. That has diluted Petroviz down a bit, but that is fine by them. They're very, very happy with their position. And although they didn't participate in the raise, they were fully supportive of it.
And the money came from institutions?
And the money came from institutions primarily based out of the UK.
Are you interested in private retail investors putting some money into your stock?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I was surprised when I first joined to see how the shareholder register was made up. It was basically a large block of Petrovis and then retail shareholders, some of whom have been in for a very, very long time, and have had a frustrating / disappointing run over the years. And
a typical E&P experience, you might say.
Well, yeah.
But now it's going to be very different.
Well, that's right, because
we're at the action end of the business now.
Yeah, and what I hate to do is promise to do stuff and then not do it. So we are very, very enthusiastically chasing the spud of our first well, and to be able to do the 4 wells in 2018 and to be able to do the 6 wells within the next 12 months. And working very hard for that, because although you do get fluctuations in share price in the run up to drilling, and money raises can affect that positively and negatively, yes. The thing that's going to make a big difference on Petro Metad share price is some success or encouragement in exploration drilling. Exactly. It's about time we got on with it. So that's what we're going to do.
To what extent would that de-risk the project and make the farm-in, which you're also in parallel looking at, and make that more beneficial for you guys?
Yeah, well, the success case economics for discoveries we might make in Mongolia are spectacularly good, and we of course have mercilessly shown that to any would-be farminee that comes in, to show the size of the prize here. I think the reaction technically and largely commercially from would-be farminees has been good. It's a big obstacle to get over, though, to do a new country entry these days, and although the appetite for exploration is improving, exploration in Mongolia, if you've never looked at it before, if you've never been before, that's quite a big obstacle for some companies. We've had feedback from a number of people who've said, look guys, I'd be quite happy to farm in once you've de-risked this and pay a lot more for it then than you would be seeking for me to pay now. And I don't think that's just a polite way of saying, no, I'm not interested. I actually believe that to be the case. Once they see the size of the prize, a new country entry is an easier thing to sell to your board of directors. So,
is that what might be taking place between November and March?
Well,
as you go forward, because you'll have done 4 wells by then.
Yeah, we will, absolutely. And I think most of the people who are looking at a new country entry for Mongolia will be looking at the 4 and 5 potential. Not so much the near field, lower risk stuff that excites us because we're already committed to Mongolia, because that offers us the chance of early cash flow. But the size of that, the value proposition for those smaller features, whilst even the smallest is probably comparable to our market cap at the moment, so well worth doing for a company like us. Somebody taking the move to come into Mongolia, they're doing it for the sexy upside of blocks 4 and 5, the really big potential that could be. So those are the results.
And you're looking at 850 million barrels, aren't you?
Well, that's the, if you add them all together, as statisticians tell me you shouldn't, but if you add all 6 wells, prospective resource together, it's 850 million barrels targeted in 6 wells to be drilled within the next 12 months. And there aren't that many exploration companies around at the moment who are doing that, and not for wells that cost between $3 and $8 million bucks. They're drilling much more expensive wells than that, and one at a time.
Not to be sneezed at.
Indeed not.
Indeed. Okay, PetroChina are a part of that play. Explain to me what your relationship is with PetroChina and how you're going to be working with each other, and what their reaction has been to the negotiations you've been having with them.
Yeah, okay. Well, obviously they own the production infrastructure close to our Block 20, and we're planning to drill a couple of wells in Block 20. Back in February, I went to see PetroChina, told them of our plans, and asked them, firstly, was there spare capacity in their rig contractor, who is the most experienced rig contractor in that particular basin.
Is that Sinopec?
No, actually this is a company called DQE, which is a PetroChina sister company that has 7 or 8 rigs working all the time, or during the drilling season anyway, in that part of Mongolia, to see if they would be open to us taking one of those rigs. Very, very open. They were there was absolutely no problem there. So we are negotiating with that company at the moment, hope to finalise the contract fairly soon. And on the matter of the spare capacity in their facilities, PetroChina said yes, they used to be producing 25,000 barrels a day. They're now off peak on their fields, so production has come down a little bit. There is spare capacity, and their reaction was, once you find something, please come and talk to us. I think as a commercial proposition, a bit of third-party business for a facility that is designed for more throughput than it currently has makes sense from that point of view. So very open reaction from the conversations with PetroChina. And I look forward to following up again once we've drilled those wells and when we've got something to talk about.
So an ideal conversation with them, basically.
Yeah, no pushback at all.
Okay. And what about the oil refinery that's, in theory, going to be built in Mongolia with Indian investment money?
That's right. Well, it's been talked about for a number of years, but since the new government came in Mongolia just under a year ago, that amount of chatter has increased. There's been a lot talked about it. And also, there was a groundbreaking ceremony last month where Mongolia and India went to the site of the refinery and broke ground. It does actually seem to be moving ahead. I don't know, they've talked about it being ready for operations in 2022. I don't know, to be honest, how realistic that is. I haven't really looked into it too much. But the fact that they are pushing ahead with this project is good from our point of view.
Yes.
And Mongolia, basically to fill that refinery, needs active oil exploration in country. At the moment, I think Petro Metad is the only active explorer in country. Maybe that's a little unfair. Perhaps there's one other company drilling at the moment, but we are drilling a multi-well program. And hence we're getting a lot of positive attention from the government for that reason. Obviously, we're in the exploration phase, but they're very hopeful that that's going to come in and that's going to add to the feedstock for their refinery.
Yes. But it'd be fantastically useful to have an operating oil refinery inside
indeed.
Mongolia.
I mean, at the moment, all of Mongolia's oil is exported to refineries in China. Mongolia would like to change that. And it would be great to be supplying oil to a domestic refinery in Mongolia so that they then can export product rather than what they do, which is
Final question,
import.
Mike. What kind of news flow can we expect in 2018 and 2019 to support your share price?
Okay, well, we've got 4 wells going down in 2018 is the plan. The Snow Leopard #1 well will be spudding very, very soon, and we'll be having results from that around about the end of August, early September, depending on when the well is finished. We'll then move the rig to Wild Horse, which is one of Woodmac's 20 exploration wells to watch in 2018, and rightly so. We hope to have results from that by the end of October, early November. And we hope to spud in Block 20 before the end of September. Those are relatively quick wells, maybe 3 weeks per well. So looking for results from Block 20 in October, November time. So a lot of news flow in 2018. And then with 2 big hitting wells still to go in 2019 in the early part of the drilling season. So lots of activity, lots of potential for RNS announcements.
Mike Buck, CEO of Petro Metad, thank you very much for joining us. I couldn't agree more, plenty to look forward to. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe to London South East's YouTube channel if you'd like to see more interviews like this one. Thank you very much.